Hello there, and welcome to this video. In this channel, we talk about nursing issues, we talk about nursing empowerment, we talk about global opportunities for registered nurses. We empower nurses with information. We give information for free to nurses because we want nurses to get jobs, and we want the patients who need services to get them, and their governments are ready to pay, or some of them are ready to pay privately. So in this video, I want to talk about being able to pass the NCLEX RN exam when you are in tough circumstances. And this is something that most of the people experience, especially foreign trained nurses who have been trained outside the US, outside Canada, outside Australia, and they need to pass the NCLEX, and they do not, sometimes they experience a lot of problems, a lot of challenges because of their situations, and this boils down to work. You have to work at the same time, you have a family to take care of, and again, you have to deliver in terms of you have to pass the NCLEX. For example, when an agency has invested their money on you, and you have to pass the NCLEX for them to process your immigration, it's a big challenge because sometimes you realize that even finances come in. Because if you are taking extra locums, you are taking extra shifts at work to increase your finances, you may not be able to do that when you start taking the NCLEX. So people have been asking me, how do you maneuver through these things? And I found it better to do this video and so that it can be of help to a majority who are revising for the NCLEX and they are facing similar circumstances. Myself, I faced such circumstances, and it's really a matter of sacrifice because you know what you want at the end of the day, you know what you are looking for, and that is why I'm here making this video. So the first strategy you can use to overcome these circumstances, to maneuver between work, you have to revise for the NCLEX, and at the same time you have to give your family the attention they deserve, is to talk with your family about this issue. Your family needs to sacrifice with you because yourself, you're sacrificing your time, you are sacrificing extra work shifts because you want to pass this exam. So you need to discuss with your family, and your family will understand you. Just approach them well, discuss both of you if you're married, for example, and you know what you expect and what you will get when you pass this exam. And even if you have children, involve them in the discussion if they are at the age where they can reason with you. Let them know that you need time to study, and you will be studying every day until you take your exam. But of course, you will have a timetable. You can choose a day of the week when you want to rest, when you want to say that this particular day I will not be touching books, I don't want anything to do with revision, because you also have a life to live. So sacrificing is important because at the end of the day you have to find time. So it's a matter of sacrifice, and the moment you discuss with your family, your family goes with you, and it becomes easier even to adapt in the process in case something comes up. For example, if you expected that a process will take just 6 months and then it delays, if you have already discussed with your family, it becomes quite easy for you and them to adapt, and then you find that even the extra demands that are put on you will be easy to overcome or to meet. Now, the second strategy that you can apply is to make sure that you have the right materials for the revision. And when I talk about materials, I am talking about materials for content, NCLEX content, because you need to be completely armed with content. That's the first thing. Second thing is materials for questions. You need question banks so that when you study a particular topic, you can examine yourself using a reliable question bank. So when you have books, you have videos for content, books for content, videos for content. You need an online bank which is timed, where you can time yourself, go there, do exams, time yourself and get your scores and know where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are, so that you can know how to change strategy in terms of preparing to pass the exam. Remember, you're not preparing to do the exam, you're preparing to pass the exam. These are different. Because when you're preparing to do the exam, you just do the exam, you can pass or not pass. But now we are talking about preparing to pass the exam. That is what you want. And I am telling you, if you get the right materials, it will be very good for you, because you will pass the exam. Now, the third strategy I want to talk about is having a mentor, having a trainer, having an NCLEX coach. Do you have someone who is walking the journey with you? Do you have someone who has already passed the NCLEX? So they have the experience, they know how to handle questions. For example, some of the NCLEX style questions are quite hard. For example, you may talk about SATs, S-A-T-S, select all that apply questions. These questions are not very easy. So if you have someone who has gone through the process, if you have money, you can pay for a trainer. You can appreciate a trainer, someone to work with you. But if you don't have money for a trainer, you can talk with your friend or even a relative or even a professional colleague, and they're going to walk the journey with you. When you have questions, you can ask them. When you have challenges, you can ask them. When you find that a particular topic is hard for you, you can ask them about the strategies they applied to understand that particular topic. For example, when you're talking about ECG strips, things to do with the heart conditions whereby you have to record them and interpret the strips, it can be a bit difficult. But if you have someone who can walk you through the process and help you, guide you with those questions, it can be good. Again, you can also think about a colleague who is preparing for the NCLEX, and you guys can have a WhatsApp discussion group, and you find that things become a bit easy because you have somewhere where you have someone whom you can be asking these questions. So if you are a group person, it's important that you look for a group. But if you are a person who just like studying alone, it is also okay. You will pass the exam. You don't have to worry much. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is how do you handle the situation when you feel tired? You have a timetable, you have a set of things that you want to achieve by the end of the week, and you realize that on Thursday, for example, is when you have much time, but on Thursday you are so tired. You have been working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday you're working, Thursday is your day off, you are so tired, you can't even revise. So what can you do in such instances? First of all, you need to take a rest. You can divide your time, take some rest. If you want to sleep, you can sleep. If you want to take a walk in a serene environment, you can do that, because you need to be fresh for you to be able to study. So after now, you make ensure that you're fresh to study. You can study the textbooks. But when you study the textbooks and you find that you are tired, you can use videos. Videos are a bit easier to understand because some of them are even entertaining to watch, and it can be a bit easier for you to internalize content in a video when you are tired than in a textbook. Again, at certain times, you can also use question banks, because you realize that when you're doing questions one by one, you can actually go at your pace, and you realize that it can be a bit easier to understand the questions than reading content in a textbook. Now, the next thing I want us to talk about is about creating time. You need to create more time than you usually have. Some people talk about having a 25th hour, adding a 26th hour. That means adding 2 hours over the 24 hours that we have in a day. And actually what this means is a matter of creating more time, creating time for you to be able to revise for the NCLEX. So how can you create more time? If you are taking extra worksheets, you need to think about that when you are revising for the NCLEX. For example, because NCLEX exam, you're going to revise for it, say for 3, 4, 5 months, somewhere there, and you will have the rest of your life to do the extra work shifts. You will have the rest of your time of your life to do locums. So you can do away with locums for that period if it's possible. Or if it's not possible, if you must do them because of financial implications, then you need to reduce the time that you use in locums, because the moment you sign up for locums, there is work to be done and you have to do that work. And remember, at the same time, you have maybe booked for an exam, or you have said that you need to do the exam at this particular month and you really don't want to delay that. So you can think about extra work shifts and see where you can reduce them for the purpose of passing the NCLEX exam. So the next thing that we need to talk about is that if you need to add more time, then you need to evaluate and limit your use of social media. And you will find that quite a number of people use a lot of time in social media. If you do an evaluation, you might find that you're using about 2 to 3 hours a day in social media alone. And most of the times you are consuming information that you didn't intend to consume. You just consume whatever you find there. So if you can limit your usage of social media, you can add that time to your NCLEX revision schedule. You just need to transfer that time from social media and take it to NCLEX revision. And you'll find that you have added a lot of time to your revision schedule. So that time can be useful in terms of revising for your exam and will help you a lot to pass the exam. So the other thing that people need to do if you're revising for the NCLEX, you can use breaks. You need to make good use of breaks. At your workplace, you have a tea break, you have a lunch break, you have, sometimes you don't have critical patients, you have stable patients. Sometimes you find that the place where you work is not very busy, so you have a lot of time. So you need to make use of every other time that you find incorporated to your NCLEX revision. And in this case, a smartphone helps a lot. If you don't have a smartphone and you are revising for the NCLEX revision, you need to get a smartphone, because with a smartphone, you just carry all your materials in the phone. Even if they are videos, you just need an earphone or a headphone, and you can revise from anywhere. You can listen to those videos, you can read books, you can go to question banks online using your phone, and it will be very, very beneficial. So the other way you can add your time is to make use of the time when you travel. For example, if you use public means of transport, traveling from one point to another, maybe some of you travel to work on a daily basis, you can use that time to increase the time for revision for NCLEX. And that is why I've said previously that having a smartphone helps a lot in this case. So you can make use of that time and revise for the NCLEX. Now, those are the ways you can use to increase your time or add to your time. So then the last thing that people ask me is that a time comes and you feel you are completely demotivated, you don't feel like you need to continue with the process, and you don't know what to do. So at such a point, you need to evaluate whether your problem is fatigue or what exactly is the problem. And if the problem is fatigue, you can rest, you can take a rest, you can take a 1 or 2 days rest. And at the end of the day, you will be very fresh. When you start revising again, you will be internalizing issues very well. Now, if the problem is not fatigue, then another way of re-energizing yourself is to remind yourself the reasons why you started the process. And to some people, they want a high pay. Others want citizenship. Others want good conditions of work. So I have some people who tell me that whenever they feel they are demotivated, they just go to the city where they want to work and Google the RN positions are there, check the pay that is being offered, and again they become rejuvenated. They continue the process. So that's the end of this presentation. If you have comments, concerns, or suggestions, just leave them in the comment box. I'm going to check them. If you are revising for the NCLEX and you need assistance, just comment and I'm going to address your comment. Otherwise, I wish you all the best in your revision. I wish you success in your exams, and see you in the next video. Bye.